welcome to everyone to Portugal. It's a great pleasure to have the IMTC here in Porto. It's a challenge for me because, well, to be the first speaker, the keynote speaker in a conference with such a huge panel audience, it's always a pleasure. The second thing is, well, we are no more Portugal Telecom. That's the news. We announced last week that we are going to fusion with Oi. So now, and this slide here is quite representative of what is the future of the new company. Portugal Telecom and Oi will be a multinational and will be acting in 3 continents. Portugal will be our starship, where we will lead in terms of technology and innovation, development on new services. We will be working, of course, in some countries in Africa, and we will gain the scale of Brazil. So look at the new company working in that triangle of Portugal, Africa, and Brazil. It's more than 100 million customers. So we will be in the top 20 telco operators. I don't like to be a telco operator. I think more and more telco guys should be a multimedia operators or multi-services operators. This kind of voice data doesn't matter for the customers. What matters for the customer is services. So today, I'm not talking about technology. Sorry, I'm not a technical guy. I will talk a little bit what I can do, what a telecom operator can do with all the technology you provide to us. So technology for us is the means to achieve a goal, which is the services, to fulfill the need of a customer. It's very important to have this very good cooperation between technology guys and service providers. I'm very glad today to have a lot of partners here. Cisco is one of our partners. Ericsson is one of our partners. So a lot of guys work with us in all the area, in the fixed network, in the wireless network. Because by the end of the day, what I want is to provide a service to my customers. This kind of anytime, anywhere, any kind of services, in any device. That's also a challenge for Portugal Telecom and now for the Brazilian company. So the way we look to the market is, okay, there's segments of market. People don't care anymore if I'm a wireless operator or if I'm a telco operator or if I'm a cable operator or a DTH operator. What I want is to fulfill my needs as a residential, as an enterprise, or as a personal. We have different needs. When I'm at home, I want to see a movie, I want to call my friends, I want to surf the net. I have different needs when I'm in my enterprise. I need to bring my own device, I need to be connected to my cloud, I need to check my customer records on my CRM, I need to see what is happening on my accountability on the company, connected to the ERP. So for Portugal Telecom, is looking at those segments, put the technology as a way to provide those services to those companies, to those segments. So we look at technology, and P2 Inovação is one of our sisters company. We have this huge challenge to be a little bit ahead, a step ahead in terms of what is happening in the technology of the telecommunication area or in the multimedia area. Looking to the wireless networks. Okay, how does it work? What is the next wave of technology? We are pretty advanced in terms of introduction of new technology. When we look to the multimedia, and it's funny, wow. Just to wake you up, guys, don't worry. Patrick is, is an expert. Wake up those guys. It was funny because in the last 20 years I was working also in the multimedia area. I started with the old plain television, like broadcasting. Then I went to the cable TV companies. Then back to the telecom area. And now I don't know, I am a multimedia. I don't care anymore about the means I reach my customer. What I want is to provide a service. And those guys help me a lot. So for us, multimedia, it's not only IPTV, it's not only digital TV, it's content. Content anytime, anywhere, any device. we look to the access network. But as I referred before, the access network should have a strategy. We have to look at the networks in the way they complement the way to reach our customer. So I'm not a wireless guy. I'm not looking only on video over wireless. I'm not looking about what is happening in the fiber world. I'm trying to understand how I can work with all these technologies and provide that services to my customers. So if I'm not able to make an FTTH network in a small area, not urban area, maybe I will use the LTE to provide those services to those customers. Or a complementary of DTH for the television and LTE for the interactive content. So I'm trying to have this approach and have this multi-access networks to provide those services to the customer. So it's more about how do you reach the customer, how do you use those different technology, those different access technology to provide the services. M2M is also one of the things we are looking at, the Internet of Things. More and more devices are connected to the net. It's a stress for a telecom operator because a lot of data, this tsunami of data coming in our networks. It's a challenge of networking. It's a challenge to make the network goes well and goes work. But that's why we're here. And then education. I would say education, but also health. We have to provide education and health. And I think this is fundamentals of our society. If you are not a rich country, it's sometimes difficult to get access to education. It's difficult to get access to the health care. So we have also one goal is to provide this education and health. Not only on Portugal, but when we look to Brazil, and when you look to a lot of areas in Brazil, it's wonderful to be able to provide education to small, well, it's not small countries, it's small villages, because sometimes it's towns with 500,000 people, but they don't have access to education because they don't have teachers. That's all. And providing the access to the e-education or providing the access to e-health, it's also a way to provide a new society and to provide a better care for those society. So it's also a social, not only a commercial project. When we look to Portugal Telecom, I think we have 5 strategic pillars. This is the 5 areas that our CEO put us in the mind. So I'm washed brain, you know. And the guys say, well, first, you have to grow in scale. We did it. Now we are in Brazil, and we are in Africa. So I think the first one is done. Increase contribution international. As I said before, we have 10 million customers in Portugal. We have 90 million customers between Brazil and Africa. So yes, we've done that also. Third, lead the consumer market in convergence and enterprise market. ICT. Convergence, it's not just bundling services. It's really to prove that you can provide the converged services. It's like for the customers, technology transfer. Technology is really something we don't want the customers to be worried about. And to have these convergent services is to have a voice on any device. So he doesn't have to care about if he's calling on his mobile phone, he's calling on his VoIP phone, or whatever. It's providing a multimedia environment. So he can watch TV on the smartphone, on the TV set, on the PC, on the tablet. It's the converged services. So I think we've done also. On the ICT, it's also a challenge for a telco company, because not only telco guys are used to provide connection, pipes. We don't want anyone to provide pipes. We want to provide service, as I mentioned before. We want to provide a hand-to-hand solution. If you are in the cloud computing area, we want to provide the data center, the infrastructure as a services, the software as a services, the security between the connections, and the hand-to-hand connection to the enterprise. So the ICT is also about convergence, about providing technology, information technology, connection, security, and platform, computing and storage. So this approach we have in the enterprise, the same approach we have in the residential. Fourth, top in the sector of technology, customer experience, and operational efficiency. I used to say the customer is king. That's why we are here, is to provide good services, to fulfill the needs of the customer. So yes, we focus a lot on the customer. Yes, we look a lot in the experience, the quality of experience of the customer. So our focus is mainly to satisfy the customer. And that's the only way, if you want to provide, it is the only way to survive in this kind of environment. In Portugal, we used to say we have 3.5 operators. It was an international, private joke. Actually, we are now 3. Vodafone is one of them. Optimus, we just have a fusion with Zog. So it's a cable TV plus a wireless company, and PT. 3 operators for a small country like 10 million customers, it's very, very aggressive. 10 million people, 3 big operators, it's not easy. That's why we decide, okay, let's have a totally different approach, and let's go also in an international world, and let's reinvent ourselves. And 5 years ago, Portugal Telecom has to reinvent. We said, okay, we are no more a telco operator. We are a multimedia service provider. And that was a big change in terms of culture, in terms of mindset of the company, and also in terms of service we are providing to the customer. As I told you before, 5 years ago we were just providing ADSL, frame relays, SDH, ATM, connections, pipes. And we discovered that providing pipes was not a very, very healthy business. Maybe it was 5 years ago, but the margins were crazy. So we have to put high value services on top of that. We don't want to have, I'm sorry, but we don't want to have Google or any kind of service provider putting content on our clients, and we are not looking at any revenue from that. So we have to reinvent ourselves and design a new TV services, a new ICT offer to be really a multimedia operator. So also very important for us is sustainability. We want to be in a green world in the future. So not only focus on the business, but looking also to the world. When I told you, well, voice is decreasing, I heard once a guy from Cisco, actually it was the CEO from Cisco, telling us, well guys, you have a problem. Voice will be free, so your business, you'll be out of business in 10 years. Voice will be free. And why? Because why? Voice is increasing. It's more and more data. Well, it's not really data. It's data codec in video connected, it's video encoding. It's voice encoding, but by the end of the day, it's data. And communication time is more and more about email, it's more and more about games or social, and the voice is decreasing a lot. So we have to reinvent ourselves, as I told you before. And when you look to the mobile, it's the same side. We spend less and less time speaking, more and more time surfing, checking our email, looking to the SMS, looking to the apps. It's more and more a app way. The smartphone are changing our way to use the phone. And as telco operator, we have to understand that. So now we are developing apps. We are providing apps to our customers. We are providing quality of experience to use those apps. As I mentioned before, in 2008, we spent maybe 78% of our time speaking, only 22% surfing. Now it's the opposite. Now we spend maybe half of our time working, or checking the email, looking to the apps, or changing some information, and then we spoke. And that's the trend. The trend is voice is going down and more and more. On the other hand, the social networks, the email and gaming are booming. So it's also a challenge for us because the way the network reports itself with voice is totally different. So it's a lot of game, it's a change in the game also. Okay, as I mentioned, and that's a slide from last year. In 2012, well, 60% of mobile phone time was spent on apps. I'm sure if we look at the same numbers today, it's maybe 75%. And if you look to the operating system, no doubt, Android is already overpassed iOS, and the last guy, well, I'm not sure that the last guy is still there, but BlackBerry is disappearing, as you know. More terminals. I think I have 4 or 5 in my jacket. It's like the smartphone, the iPad, but we have the connected TV, we have the PC. So by the end of the day, ourselves, we have at least 4 connected devices. When we think about the machine-to-machine, the Internet of Things, you will have your car connected, you will have a lot of things connected. So more and more devices to provide services, more and more connectivity to manage. That's also a challenge. A lot of different protocols you are trying to handle in the same network. By the end of the day, of course, it's all data. They will be transported in IP. Okay, but with different quality of experience. We will have to manage. Traffic shaping, it's one of the game we are also looking at. More data in device in Portugal also. This trend in Portugal, I think if you look to your home country, it's actually the same. The number of handsets in Portugal is 12.9 million. We are only 10 million people. 10 million people, 12.9 million handsets. That's quite a challenge. We are the number 3 in Europe, by the way, in terms of mobile penetration. Why? Those, well, Vodafone was there, Optimus was there, Portugal Telecom was there, a lot of competition, but also the way to boom the market and have this huge amount of mobile device. The same thing with the tablet, the same thing with data cards, growing and growing. We expect that by the end of 2016, we will have something like 14 to 15 million devices connected. That's a huge number in terms of mobility management. That's a huge stress for the networks also. And the trends of the behavior of the customers also change. Now, we are not only looking at TV on the TV set. We are not anymore a linear TV viewer. The thing is more about interactivity. It's more about catch-up TV. It's more about video on demand. The same thing about fixed mobile convergence. We want to have the whole package, as I mentioned before. Anytime, anywhere, any service, any equipment. That's the motto of the game. I think that's the way the new telecom operators and the new multimedia services provider has to think about. Not only on the data, because anytime, anywhere, any services, it's more about content, but also for the companies. Remember, today you are here, but you want to check your email. Very basic. But you want to check also what's happening in your accounting, because you are a business manager. And you want to check, okay, how did my numbers last month? Or are my sales today? So we have to check anything, anywhere, any equipment. We don't want to be limited to the voice in the smartphone. We want to have access to any kind of content in the smartphone. We have this mini iPad now. We want to be able to access anything, anywhere. And once again, challenge for telecom operators. And the mobility on the phone is already today. Remember, we are not a telecom operator. We are multimedia. Multimedia means any kind of media. Means any kind of way to connect to the customer. We were one of the first to make a huge investment in fiber. So today we have like 1.6 million households. It's like more than 2/3 of the population has fiber. For a country like Portugal, it's a small country. It's not a very rich country. As you know, we are under the Troika hammer, I would say. It's quite difficult to be living in the country for the last 3 years. We pay a lot of tax. Don't worry, a lot of tax. Very expensive to live in Portugal. Nice weather, good people, good food, a lot of tax. So we have the fiber, we have the cable, we have also the copper. a lot of copper also. We have to take this copper advantage. I think we will take a copper advantage in maybe 1 or 2 years. So all the networks have to work all together. It's not a question of, okay, I will focus and put all my money on the fiber. Well, by the end of the day, I have a lot of copper also. So I will have to try to take the maximum value of the copper. So we are looking to ADSL plus, ADL plus, and so on. Because by the end of the day, it's something we have to take advantage. Not only about the fiber, not only about the copper or the wireless networks we have. Remember, we are the third in terms of mobile penetration. 158 is the exact number, to be honest. It's a huge advantage for Portuguese Telecom. But it's also a huge challenge because it means that the margins are very, very low. It means that you have to be very creative when you are looking about new services or when you want to attract new customers. Churn is a huge concern of our company. We want to reduce churn. The way to reduce churn is to have convergence, is to have connections to the customer in different ways. So it's like a spy. It's like you connect to those guys with that. So connected to TV, connected to the voice, connected to the data. So the convergence is also a way to fulfill the customer, but also to reduce the churn, to be honest. Let's think about that. Pay TV customers, a growing market. We started pay TV maybe 20 years ago. 0 customers in 20 years ago. We started with, at the time it was cable TV Cabo. TV Cabo was the name of the company. I was CTO of TV Cabo, by the way. Then we launched the DTH offer, and now we have more than 3.5 million households as customers. So it means that 75% of the country has pay TV. What I want to tell you here is in the last 20 years, Portugal reinvents ourselves. We have to reinvent and insist about that. And Portugal and Portuguese guys tend to be very attracted to new technology. We like new technology. We like new services. That's why the incidence of mobile systems. That's why the high number of pay TV customers. And then last year we launched the converged services. Mail. Mail is the way we see the world. Mail. Mail means mine. It's mine. I do whatever I want. I can not only see TV, but I can see TV from the past. I can record on my TV, very simple. But I can interact with my TV. I can have apps on my TV. I can play games on my TV. So we turn on TV at the center of the multimedia home. We have this gateway, we have the fiber to get the content there. But for a telecom operator, it was the way to have a new market. The market of pay TV, but also interactivity. We introduced the interactivity. We worked with Microsoft TV platform. It was a huge challenge 5 years ago because the product was not so mature, we'll say. But now, today, I think we have a very, very creative, innovative services. Maybe one of the best in the world. So, if you are curious, please check what we are offering in the Mail TV. In terms of branding, it was also very important. I have a very strong brand. And in terms of telecom operator, we were #1 for the last 4 years. And I hope we will be #1 also this year. If you look to the multi-brand, we were #1 in 2009 when we launched the brand. It's very, very unique. In the same year you launch a brand to be a #1 multi-brand. So we made a huge investment. We were lucky, to be honest. We have the guys, we named them Gato Fedorento, comic guys. And we connect the brand to those guys. And for the people, for the residential people, it was very attractive because it was totally disruptive. It's like, okay, those guys are the old telco, the incumbent, you know, the gray guys, cable, ADSL, copper, not very sexy. And then we say, okay, interactive TV, multimedia, VOD, And we put a totally different marketing campaign on place. Like, let's do something totally different. And people react very well. Say, oh, something is happening, something is changing. Those guys are not great people. Those guys are not incumbent. Actually, they are the opposite. They are challenging the incumbent guys. 5 minutes more. I'll do. And that was a success story. It was a success story. In less than 5 years, we achieved 1 million customers. 1 million customers in 5 years. Look to the growth rate in a country like Portugal. It's not 1 million customers, by the way. It's 1 million subscribers only. So it's in more or less 3.5 to 4 million subscribers to our TV. Huge success. And look at what we introduced. More and more services. It's not just about coverage. It's not about just putting more fiber. It's about also inventing new services. Interactive services, 3D events, and now the multi-screen technology with the mail goal. I told you about interactivity. We developed a lot of services around interactivity. Games, interactive viewing, also home socket TV interactive, so we can change this multi-screen area. We have our own mail canal, so you can provide your own content onto your TV. You can have your own channel if you want. And look at all the services. 170 channels, HD, but also 3D, video on demand, fast zapping. So all the service was a hand to provide this totally different content we want and totally different kind of services. So as you see, cloud TV, music box, mail games, restart TV, catch up, taking advantage of the technology to provide this first-class service. That's how we reach 1 million customers in less than 5 years. A little bit about technology. We start with the encoder 264. We are also using 264, and now we're using the 265. It means that we try to be in the wave in terms of technology. Ambitious, but we like to also to have mature technology. FTTH network, and to finish, just to give you the numbers also, 1.6 million households already passed. It's a problem we have here in Portugal. It's a technological problem, but it's a political problem. You have to open the network if you are in a non-competition area. In Portugal, there's 3 areas. Competitive area, you can do all the investment you want. The fiber is yours, and nobody else touched the fiber. You are a non-competitive area, so if you do an investment, you have to share investment with your operators, and then what we call the rural areas. And there is a provider who made the investment, and then the service provider can use that fiber network. So we only have invest in the competitive area. We are looking to the other areas, but there is kind of investment risk. That's why we stop there. Fiber advantage, I think we know. Another thing I want to stress is about 4G. So we take advantage of 4G not only for the voice, but also to get this quality of experience. Gaming is the ultimate goal in terms of quality of experience. So if you have a problem with latency, gaming will have a problem. So we tend to use that technology, as I mentioned before, to provide the same kind of services people are used to have at home. So the challenge for us is to provide the same experience, the same quality of experience over a 4G network. If it's voice, it's HD voice. If it's, well, not yet, HD or video. So 4G also a huge challenge. 4G for us is more capacity in terms of bandwidth, more capacity in terms of data transport, but also more coverage. And today we have more than 90% of the country already covered with LTE. So as I mentioned before also, high growth rates in terms of fiber deployment, high growth rates in terms of coverage of 4G, and we want to have high growth rate in terms of customer also. And just to finish, that's my last slide. My last slide to tell you that we had this view 5 years ago. As a telecom operator, we decided to have this state-of-the-art access network, the fiber, the 4G, but also the Wi-Fi, not only as a offload traffic, but also to provide services. Then we have this internet, the national backbone, IP and PLS, and last week we announced the construction of our data center in Multimedia, a huge data center, state-of-the-art data center. So we have this end-to-end solution for the customer, not only the residential, but also for the enterprise. Connection, access network, IP core network, and now data center for providing services. Well, thank you very much.